again to our devotional series, Messages from Tiny People. And today we are going to get a message from one tiny person that I so love in the Bible, and this is little David. Yes, I'm talking about David, a man who fought this giant called Goliath. And we are going to read from the book of 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 40 and verse 45. And the Bible says, "And he took his staff in his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag which he had, even in a scrip, and his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine." And verse 45 says, "Then David said to the Philistine, Thou comest to me with the sword, and with a spear, and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defiled." And so here we find 2 men in the battlefield, that is David and Goliath, and this is a life or death situation. Goliath was representing the Philistines, and David was representing Israel in the stead of the commander of Israel, who was the king at that time, King Saul, who had failed to represent God in his life. He had failed to become the man that God had chosen him to be. Though he was appointed by people, God had sent his prophet to anoint him so that he can be able to carry out the task. I want to talk about a subject that we can only accomplish great things when God is with us. No matter how small we might be, or no matter how little the resources can be, we accomplish great things because God is with us. And so we find David standing in the battlefield with Goliath. And I like the way these two are dressed. Goliath is dressed in the armor of war as a man of war. And then David at first was given the armor of war by the king, but he says, I cannot go with that. He goes on with a staff in his hand, smooth stones, and the shepherd's bag, and the sling in his hand. Those were the things that the shepherd always had when he goes on to protect his sheep, when he's shepherding his sheep. And so David is standing in the battlefield not as a warrior or a warman, but he's standing as a shepherd who is keeping his sheep that are threatened by danger. David was a man who trusted in God. He was ordained for this job, and he allowed God to lead him. He trusted in God. He tells Goliath that you come to me with all that armor, but I come to you in the name of the Lord. As you are a leader, as you are a shepherd, in whose name are you leading? Are you leading in the name of the organization? Are you leading in the name of the church? Are you leading in the name of a political party, or you are leading in the name of God? David conquers Goliath because he had God on his side. And what interests me is, David manages to manipulate the giant because of the power that was with him. If we had taken the stones that David had and put them in the hands of Saul, and the same strength that David threw, you would realize that Saul would have gotten the embarrassment of his life. Why? Because as David was throwing the stone, the great shepherd of Israel was behind him, and it was the force that was coming from God himself. When you allow God to rule your life, you accomplish great things with little things that you have, because you will be going in the power and in the appointment and anointment of God. We only accomplish great things when we have God, no matter little the resources. The singer says, little is much when God is in it. Look into your life. Look at the resources you have. Maybe you want to start a business. Maybe you have something that is troubling you. What do you have in your hand? That's what God asked Moses. And Moses only had one thing. And God used that what Moses had. And so let us be encouraged this morning that we can only accomplish great things when we are with God. God bless you.